What's up, guys? Lance LeBrun coming to you from SRL. Trying to get things underway here. SRL League F1 Racing, F1 22 on the PlayStation platform. Getting ready to kick off round 13 of Season 8, where we're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race, which will be 22 laps today. As we get ready to run down your driver lineup, let's recap last week, actually I should say a couple weeks ago, the Hungarian Grand Prix, where unfortunately I was not here and Nick Van Gelder filled in for me, so I appreciate Nick taking the time to do that. But Friat Bile picked up his second pole position of the season. However, he wasn't able to capitalize on that. He did walk away with a podium, but Logan Aron was able to take his sixth win of the season, followed by Nicolo Falzaresi picking up his fourth podium of the season, and Friat Bile finishing third, picking up his second podium of the season. Tim Ventic would end up finishing fourth, and that would change the complexion of the championship points race. Sandro Dulius managed to finish fifth, Oleski was sixth, Vincenzo Torri was seventh, Luke Smith finished eighth, Lewis Marshall making his SRL on-track return, finishing at ninth. Cameron Weston-Edwards was rounding out your top 10 points-paying positions. Dion Stahl, Max Mulder, and Jurgen Marusic was 11th, 12th, and 13th, and then 14th through 16th was all DNFs. Unfortunately, that was Ivan Brito for a league-leading 7th DNF of the season. Jesper Lempinen picked up his third, and Robin Herderstagen picking up a very rare DNF. It was his first one of the season. Following that round, Logan Aron was able to retake the championship points lead, 186 points to his credit. He now has a 3-point lead over Tim Ventic with 183. Nicolo Falzaresi, though, with his podium, bumps him up into the third spot over Oleski for the first time this season with 132, but Oleski is still in contention with 128. And Vincenzo Torri and Sandro Dulius battling for fifth, 93 points for Vincenzo. Sandro has 91. Max Mulder, 85. Friat Bile, the newcomer this year. He's only been in a handful of races so far, but he's been able to capitalize every single time. 70 points to his credit. And Jensen Randall and Luke Smith rounding out your top 10 points with 56 to Jensen and 51 to Luke. And with Nick filling in for me a couple weeks ago, last round actually tops Nick out at the 11th place in points with 50. So let's run down our driver lineup for today. Sandro Dulius will be in the Ferrari, followed by Oleski in the AlphaTauri. Robin Herderstagen back in the McLaren. Tim Ventic is going to be in the Haas. Lewis Marshall making, well, I shouldn't say making his return, but he made his return last round. But Lewis Marshall will be in the Williams. Jesper Lempinen, Cameron Weston-Edwards, Joma Rusic, your points leader Logan Aron. Christian Dorman in the other Williams. Luke Smith filling in once again. And we'll run down the rest of them as we go. Got Sandro and Tibbs on the live chat, and it is good to be back. I was out because I was spending my weekend at Daytona for NASCAR. But let's take a look here, and we should discuss a little bit about Lewis Marshall coming back. I don't know if it was discussed in full last round, but Lewis Marshall has come and gone a couple of times with SRL. It's been a bit of a up and down relationship that Lewis Marshall has had with SRL over the years. But it should be noted that he does have 8 career wins here in SRL, and he is one of the stewards for the governing body as we get ready to kick off this 18-minute short qualifying session here at Spa-Francorchamps. 16 cars on track today. But we had to, unfortunately, we had to let Brian Power go. Brian Power been with us for a few seasons, but unfortunately too many DNFs, and too many DNFs that involved other drivers. That is the key note there. There was some discussion, as we did say before the race here, that Ivan Brito now has the league leading 7 DNFs. But the difference is Ivan often wrecks by himself, often spins by himself. He's usually not involved with a wreck with any other drivers. Brian, on the other hand, was a moving roadblock, as we just picked up a 17th driver. So unfortunately, after much discussion, Brian was let go. And yeah, this is cool. This is... Here we go. Pick up Epic. The Animal, Logan Arand. Let's get some lap data. Let's get a track map going. He'll be the first one out. Looks like he's on the softs. So Lewis Marshall elected to take Brian's place. And, you know, as I said, he's 8 wins, 14 career podiums. He's also got 5 poles to his credit coming into this season. So, I mean, Lewis Marshall's no slouch. He was a championship threat the last time that he raced full-time. However, that did not end well, it should be said. But he's back with a better attitude. And Whippo Film is on the live chat saying Spa is a great track. Rat, yes, it is. Spa is one of the best tracks that we've got. As Logan Arand gets ready to start his first hot lap of the session, we'll ride on board with him down the short straightaway into the hairpin, power down, and then we've got this long run down to Eau Rouge. One of the most, if not the most famous corners in all of Formula One. Through Eau Rouge, up through Raidillon, into the Kemmel Straight. He's got a car a little bit ways back behind him as he heads down into this first series of corners here. We've got a caution flag flying in Sector 3. A little bit of a twitch as he tries to get the power back down. The curbs here are a lot more forgiving than they were at Hungary. The Hungaroring's got some big honking curbs that the cars don't like. Another caution flag flies Sector 3. Ooh, and a big twitch there as he comes out of that corner. Down in this very hard left-hander, runs it a little wide. Another caution flag flying, Sector 3. And here we go, it's going to be power down all the way to the bus stop chicane. One of the last great proper F1 tracks left on the circuit. Natural terrain. Running through the woods. Hard on the brakes, down into the bus stop chicane. See what kind of time he can set. Gives it a little blip of the throttle. Tries to get it rotated. And he's going to come across the line. He's going to set the time 1:42.941 for Logan Arand. And that is your time to beat as we hop on with Lewis Marshall. He's got a car in front of him. A lot of cars on track, just about everybody on track. I don't know if this will be an advantage or disadvantage. He could use the slipstream, but depending on who's in front of him. And it's going to get messy down here. The McLaren's all the way to the inside. I believe that was Robin Herterstegen. Hard on the brakes, you hear the tires squealing, but Lewis going to try and put a time down. 1:42.941 to beat. Oleski's going 1:43.660. Nicolo Falzaresi's going 1:43.489. Lewis only can muster a 1:44.744. Looks like he definitely had some traffic to contend with. We see Tim Ventic goes 1:44 flat across the line. And that was actually Cameron Weston Edwards. That was the McLaren that was being dodged. And you see Free Abile's going 1:43.70. And I'm trying to pick somebody up, anybody. As we see Max Mulder sets a time. We'll pick up Sandro Dulius. One of Sandro's favorite tracks. Caution flag flying Sector 1 and 2. Sandro currently on an out lap. Let's see what Sandro has in store for us as he gets the power down. He's going to come across the line. Going to start his first time lap of the session. Down the short chute into the hairpin. And here we go. Like a roller coaster as we go downhill. Through Eau Rouge, up top the Radillon, down the Kemmel Straight. Tim Ventic has been dropped to 5th quickest. Oleski's going 3rd fastest. Sandro a little wide and a little deep into that corner. I don't think it'll cost him too much time. Very smooth coming out of there. Vincenzo Torri is going 1:44.803. That's good enough for 8th. That drops Jesper Lempinen to 9th. And Christian Dorman is currently 10th quickest. Ivan Brito outside of your top 10. 1:54.161. Didn't watch Ivan, but I'm going to assume he possibly ran into some traffic. Now we are powered down. This is such a full throttle track, much like Monza. Sandro coming up on some lap traffic. That's one of the Mercedes. And that would have been Max Mulder. Luke Smith still sitting in the pit box. Luke will probably not set a time today. Powered down. Here he comes in a 1:43.932. Good enough for 5th quickest so far. And it looks like Cameron Weston Edwards has had a bit of an issue. He is retired from the session, so Cameron will not be able to set a time. And we'll pick up Vincenzo Torri. Looks like he's invalidated this lap time. But he's coming to the end of the bus stop, and he is going to, whoa, try and dive it into the pits. Do a little bit of a pirouette and get her back turned around. Probably one of the worst pit roads to try and enter, though. It's so narrow. We'll pick up Robin Hertestegen, currently 12th quickest. As I said, had a very rare DNF last week. The first DNF he's had of the season, and collectively throughout Robin's career, he does not often get DNFs. Now, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to improve his time this time around. See if he starts another lap. Nope, he's going to dive into the pits as well. We'll pick up Dion Stahl. Looks like he's on a time lap heading up through Eau Rouge and now up to Radillon and Kemmel. Looks like he's got a Haas behind him. Looks like that would be Tim Ventic on an out lap. Dion will be looking to put some points on the board today. He's struggled with time so far this season. Did have a good run last week at the Bathurst GT3 race on Project Cars 2. Coming down to the bus stop chicane to see what Dion's got for anybody. Oh, and he just invalidated his lap time at the last possible corner, and he's going to have to go around and do it again. He went 1:44.9, which would have been good enough for 10th. But he's going to have to do it all over again. Now let's pick up Tim Ventic. I think he was behind him on an out lap. Tim separated himself from Dion just a little bit. See if Tim's got anything. It's been back and forth between Tim and Logan O'Ron so far this year. Even though they're on the same team, Haas is going to clinch the team championship for sure. Big twitch there coming out of that corner. But there's no love lost between Tim and Logan. There's no team orders. There's no team participation. These guys are out for each other. Very reminiscent of Francis McGinn and Vasilios Belasiotis back in Season 4 when they were with Racing Point. Very much on the same team, but very much rivals. Very Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost type relationship these guys have. Logan started off the season strong, was your points leader. Tim was managed to capitalize on a couple of Logan's mistakes throughout the course of the year, and then took the championship points lead. In the last couple of rounds, Logan has been able to take it back. He's only got a 3-point lead heading into this race. But right now he has got the provisional pole position with a 142.941. He's actually the only driver to crack into the 142s and a half-second clear of Nicolo Falzaresi, who's come on strong the last 4 races. Here comes Tim. Tim's going to be really close. Get the power down. 143.6. Bumps himself up 3rd quickest over Friabile and Oleski. So good on Tim. We'll go back to Dion Stahl. He's the only driver left standing that has yet to set a time. See if he can keep it together throughout the course of this lap. He had a halfway decent lap going, blew it at the last corner. And it looks like Max Mulder is done for the session. Looks like he may have had an off somewhere. Looks like that would have been just outside the bus stop chicane, possibly trying to head into the pits. Again, as I said earlier, one of the hardest pit roads to try and get on. This track is very fast and flowing. Pit road is very tight and narrow, and a 90-degree left-hander. Tim saying damn, and I believe you on that one. I can concur. So Max Mulder, who is going to be locked in at a 144.5, is only good enough for 9th quickest. Ooh, Dion running a little wide there coming out of that corner. Trying to use all the track. Got really close to the tire barrier, though. Down into the bus stop. This is where Dion blew it last time. Oh, and he's not even going to attempt to time it. He's going to dive into the pits. So Dion still no time set and less than 5 minutes to play here in the session. Lewis Marshall jumping into the pits will pick up Sandro Dulius. Looks like Sandro's going to be on a timed lap as he comes down towards the end of this back straightaway. Sandro coming out of that corner really good, nice and smooth. Can he improve his time? 143.523, jumps to 3rd quickest on the charts, and that bumps Tim Ventic down into 4th. Good on him. We'll pick up Vincenzo Torri now. Big twitch coming out of that corner. His lap time is already invalidated, so this will be no good. We'll pick up Christian Dorman. We haven't talked much about him today as he's diving into the pits. We're still not going to talk about him, but you see how hard pit road is there as he gives it a little jaunt there, a little bit of a shoulder check heading into the pits. We'll pick up Nicolo Falzaresi, currently 2nd quickest. As I said, he's come on strong the last 4 rounds. He started off a little bit slow this year, but he did have a win last year. He has picked up another win this year, and plus 3 more podiums on top of that. He's come on strong these last 4 races, bumped himself 3rd into points over Oleski. And Oleski, who started off strong this year, fell off in the mid part. Has now started to put his races back together and get some points back on the board. But Falzaresi has been really impressive, possibly the most improved driver heading into the second half of the season. I mean, in the last 3 races, he's finished on the podium all 3 times, one of those being a win, so looks like he is purple in Sector 2. He's still been a half second off of Logan Aron's lap time. Now, Logan is on an out lap that's less than 2 minutes to go, so we're down to the 2-minute warning here. Nicolo's coming to the last part of this back straightaway. He'll have enough time to go around again if he wants to. And he's going to come across, and he does improve his time, 1:43.210, but he does not beat Logan. Let's pick up Oleski, see if Oleski has anything. Looks like he's coming down to the... there we go. Oleski coming down the hairpin. And where is Tim Ventic in relation to all this? We'll pick up Tim. Okay, Tim is currently on a timed out lap, and what happened here? Tim has left the session. That was interesting. So has Tim called it quits for the qualifying session, or has he had a internet issue? So we're currently watching Friabile. And he is going to make a last-ditch effort. So we're going to go back to Oleski. Oleski was the only one. And yeah, it looks like Tim's having internet issues. Looks like he disconnected. Tim Ventic has joined. So Tim's having internet issues. He was on an out lap. He is not going to have enough time to get back on track, though. He's going to be locked in at that 1:43.607. Ivan Brito has retired from the session. Vincenzo Torri is retired from the session. And it looks like Nick Van Gelder has been able to join late. Looks like we had a car around there. That might have been Vincenzo's or Ivan's. All right, so the time is up as things are getting a little confusing and a little hectic here. Time is up. Fast laps will count. Here comes Oleski down towards the back end of the straightaway into the bus stop chicane. Does he have anything to improve his time? Here he comes. Oleski's going to go across the line. He's going to go third quickest. Good on him. Pick up free. Where's Lewis Marshall? Lewis Marshall at the top of the track as he starts his descent downhill. Down this back straightaway, full throttle. Logan has improved his time with a 1:42.810. Nicolo Falzaresi was unable to improve his time. Here comes Lewis Marshall, currently 8th quickest. He's going to come across the line. Woo! Still 8th quickest. Pick up Friabile as he comes out of the last corner. Oh, and Friab at the last second goes a half second quicker than his previous time. 1:43.137, good enough for second. And that is going to drop Nicolo Falzaresi to third and Oleski to fourth. So there you have it. Time's up. Looks like checkered flag is out. And I'm being told Nick had a qualifying ban, so that explains why we saw Nick here at the end. So we've got Matt's on the live chat saying Tim for the win. We're going to find out, though, but right now it's Logan Aron is your pole sitter, followed by Friabile, Nicolo Falzaresi, Oleski, Sandro Dulius. Tim Ventic is going to be starting in the 6th position. Jesper Lempinen, we didn't watch much of him, but 7th quickest. Lewis Marshall, 8th fastest. Vincenzo Torri is 9th. Max Mulder will be 10th. Dion Stahl did finally set a time, 1:45.607, 11th quickest. Christian Dorman going to be 12th. Jurma Rusic struggling in the Red Bull once again, be 13th fastest. Robin Herderstegen only 14th quickest. Ivan Brito was your last driver to set a time, 1:54.161, could not improve upon that. And we just heard that Nick Van Gelder had a qualifying ban. Cameron Weston-Edwards retired from the session. Luke Smith does not qualify, because that's what Luke Smith does. So we'll get ready to run down the starting order once again as we do our hot lap. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the live chat. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out on the internet and Instagram. As we wait for this game to set here. Looks like sunny skies here at Spa-Francorchamps, Belgium. Something that's not very often. You don't usually get a sunny qualifying session and a sunny race both in the same weekend, in the game or in real life. And we wait for everybody to ready up. And Logan Aron with another pole position. As Logan's 8th pole position of the season. He'll be starting out front. And this is going to be his best chance to capitalize on that. Half a second clear of Free Abile, who's been incredibly impressive since his debut a few rounds ago. Nicolo Falzaresi will be starting in 3rd. Quite the aggressive driver. He'll be looking to try and jump the 2 guys in front of him on the start. Oleski, if he can play it smart and keep his car clean, he could walk away with some points and get back out in front of Nicolo Falzaresi in the points. Sandro Dulius, a solid 5th place starting position. One of his favorite tracks, one of his better tracks. Tim Ventic, surprisingly, in 6th. Couldn't find the speed during qualifying. See if he made any adjustments before the race. Jesper Lempinen will be starting in your 7th spot. And Lewis Marshall, his 2nd race back after a 18-month hiatus from SRL racing. He'll be looking to try and work his way through the field and get back to his old championship contention form. You see the predicted pit stop strategies there, medium to hards or medium to hard. We'll see if anybody goes by those. Vincenzo Torre will be starting in the 9th spot, and Max Mulder will be 10th. A little slower than he wanted to be, but still starting in the points-paying positions. See if he can work his way through the field. We saw Dion Stahl struggle a little bit. He'll be starting in 11th, followed by Christian Dorman and Jor Marusic starting in 13th. Robin Herterstegen coming off of his first and only DNF of the year last time out. He'll be looking to finish this race and put that behind him. And Ivan Brito, slowest in the timed cars during qualifying, a league-leading 7 DNFs. He'll be looking to just try and finish this race. If he gets any points, that'll be a plus. Nick making his comeback after filling in for me a couple rounds ago, which I do appreciate. After that does drop him out of the top 10 in the championship point standings to 11th. Cameron Weston-Edwards will be starting in 17th. Did not set a time during qualifying. And then Luke Smith, the Australian, who is going to be in the Mercedes, never sets a qualifying time. He always does the Kyle Larson, starts from the back, works his way to the front. He's currently 10th in points, finished 8th last time out. And he will be starting in the 18th position today. Be interesting to see where he is going to finish. And usually Luke starts on the hard tires, but it looks like today he'll be starting on mediums. So we'll wait for the grid to get set. 5 red lights. Time to run what you brung, and they're away in a puff of smoke, and it's a slow getaway for Falzaresi, but Free Abile on the outside of Logan Aron. But Friad takes it a little wide, gets the power down. Logan's able to scoot away. Falzaresi hanging on to that 3rd spot, followed by Oleski. And it is getting really dicey back here as they head through Eau Rouge. You're not going to be able to go through there 2 and 3 wide. We've already got a crash, it looks like. Oh, and that's Cameron Weston-Edwards is retired from the session, slams into the wall at the top of Radion. And we could see that coming. They were 2-3 wide heading into Eau Rouge, and that never, ever works. And it looks like Nick Van Gelder was involved in that as well, unfortunately for him. If Nick's out, we can probably get Nick in here. And it looks like Robin Herterstegen has lost his front wing, so he was involved in that. Looks like Lewis Marshall was involved in it as well, as he's all the way down into 16th. So I've sent an invite out to Nick Van Gelder, see if he can join us. He could be our driver analyst for the day, maybe give us a little bit of insight as to what happened there. I know that's not how Nick wanted this race to go. Again, this is Spa is just about everybody's favorite track, if not one of everybody's favorite track. Spa, Monza, Silverstone, the old school, proper, natural terrain tracks is what everybody likes. So Logan was able to scoot away. Friabile second, Nicolo Falzaresi is third, Oleski fourth, Tim Ventic moves up one spot over top of Sandro Dulius to fifth, Max Mulder seventh, Christian Dorman up into the 8th position from 12th, and Dion Stahl up to 9th from 11th. Vincenzo Torri is 10th, and Luke Smith somehow managed to escape all of the melee and move himself from 18th to 11th, and then we see everybody behind Luke: Ivan Brito, Jesper Lempinen, Lewis Marshall, Robin Herterstegen, Jirma Lucic, all diving into the pits. So Nick is on the live chat saying, well, as Ava has said, he tried his best. I did send Nick a chat invite. If he would like to join me and be our driver analyst for the day, it's more than welcome to. Give him a minute to possibly cool down from today's events. And Cameron Weston Edwards, unfortunately for him, I was really looking forward to seeing him out on track in the McLaren. That's a couple of rough goes here as of late. Cameron did finish 10th last time out, but not what he was wanting for sure. So we started with 18 cars, down to 16 as we had a opening lap crash at Radion. Safety car should be coming in this time by, and we'll get going again. After the pit sequence, see Ivan Brito's come out in 12th. Jirma Rusic is 13th. Jesper Lempinen is going to be 14th. Robin Herterstegen is 15th. And Lewis Marshall, unfortunately, going to be 16th. And these guys are going to be on hard tires, it looks like. Let's see what kind of... So of the ones that pitted, everybody took mediums with the exception of Jesper Lempinen and Lewis Marshall. They both took hard tires. I mean, it's early enough in the race that they could have stuck to their opening strategy. And yes, Nick, for the 3rd time, I've already sent you an invite. Let me know if you need another one. Yes, you can join me in the booth. Pay attention. In fact, you know what? While we're still under caution, I'll send him another one just because Nick's special something. Send another invite because it's still there. So yes, Nick, join me. And it looks like we're going to go around one more time, unfortunately. See, the Aston Martin safety car has picked up Logan Arond. Looks like everybody's in the queue, all 16 remaining cars. Friabile in the 2nd spot. Friabile, who's been incredibly impressive since his debut. try to find that. Yeah, he debuted round 9 at Canada. It was his SRL debut. Picked up a third-place podium finish that day, and he's been impressive ever since. Round 10, he picked up his first pole position of the season, and last time out, he picked up his second podium. He's already been able to put. He's already been able to put himself top 10 in the championship point standings in just a matter of a few races, and here he is running second. Still looking for that first SRL win. See if he can get it here today, but Logan proved that he was extremely fast in qualifying. So right now, honestly, I think this is Logan's race to lose. We've only had half of a green flag lap, but race control finally telling us the safety car is in this lap. But Logan Aron, he started on pole. He was 0.4 of a second quicker than Nicolo Falzaresi and Friab Billet. So we'll see what kind of games Logan wants to play, as he's going to be the control car. Big advantage for anybody. And there is Nick Van Gelder finally joining us after his misfortune as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Coming down the back straightaway towards the bus stop chicane. Now if Logan was, well, it looks like Logan's going to get going early. Guns it into the bus stop and then gets going. We'll see if Friab Billet can keep pace with him. Nicolo Falzaresi with a good restart over top of Friab. A couple of guys jockeying for position down the short chute into the hairpin. We see Sandro Julius running in 6th. He's got Max Mulder behind him. Single file. Oh, looks like somebody had a big off almost. Was that Sandro? Sandro lost the back end of the car almost. And that's allowed Max to close the gap, and a 3-second time penalty for Luke Smith already in this race. And looks like we've got Christian Dorman and Vincenzo Torri battling it out. And that is for the 9th position as Christian Dorman gets in front of him. Meanwhile, Luke Smith to the inside of Dion Stahl. So I try to get these cameras to work in my favor. So Luke has worked himself into the top 10 with a 3-second time penalty. And we're going to go back to the battle for 5th. And Nick, I know this is not how you wanted your race weekend to go, but give us a little insight as to what happened there. Too many cars in one spot?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, I didn't want to interfere with the commentary, but yeah, it's very disappointing to crash it so early on. But yeah, of course I started at the back because I had a qualifying ban, which was still carried over all the way from Monaco. And I came up to Eau Rouge. I actually lifted off because I could already sense that there was something going on in front of me. But then suddenly I came over the top of the hill and I saw a couple of cars in front of me. I had nowhere to go and I just smashed into it. I think I hit a car and then I smashed into the wall and yeah, I just had nowhere to go and that ended my race. So a very weird feeling to go into a race and end it so early on already after 2 corners. But yeah, it's how racing can go sometimes.
Yeah, definitely not how... Oh, and Tim Ventix retired from the session. Oh my lord, no. And that was at the top of Radion. So Tim Ventix championship contention just took a huge blow as we ride along with Christian Dorman in the 9th spot. Oh, and Dorman's going around. Oh, and he backs it into the wall. Looks like nothing major.
Lots of happening early on.
Oh, and Cameron Weston-Evers has left the session. Oh, he was involved in the crash earlier.
Yeah. But crucially, Tim Benting out of the session. I didn't catch it. I'm not sure if you did, but that's of course that can have a big influence on the championship with Logan Aron leading the way so far.
Well, Logan was a half-second clear of everybody in qualifying. He's 1.5 seconds out in front. I said it before we went back to green. This is going to be Logan's race to lose. No pressure, really. I mean, he can just go out there and run. He's so much quicker than these other guys. And right now, Friad Bile and Nicolo Falzarezzi are battling it out almost side by side heading into the bus stop. And you know as well as I do, the more these guys fight with each other, the further and further Logan is going to pull away. And he just ran the fastest lap of this race.
And yeah, it looks like Tim Venting did lose his car on his own. He said that he had a lot of dirt here and his old downforce just went away on the top of the hill and he lost it and went into the wall. But very unfortunate for Dutchman because he's of course in that big championship fight with his teammate Logan Ron, and this is gonna lose him a lot of points in the championship.
And now the DRS has finally been enabled. Looks like Nicolo Falzarezzi is going to be able to blow by Friad Bile down the Kemmel Straight. Unbelievable the speed difference that Nicolo had going into that corner. So that separates them. That's probably your closest battle on track. There is a battle going on with Luke Smith and Vincenzo Torri in the other Alfa Romeo. Luke Smith somehow already picking up a 3-second time penalty in this race.
And also Christian Doorman now getting up the inside of the adversary of Jesper Lampinen. They're side by side. And Doorman makes it stick up into... Sorry, that was Lewis Marsh actually getting through on Jesper Lampinen for 12th position.
Lewis was involved in that first lap melee as well. Lost his front wing, pitted, put on hards. Be interesting to see how far he's going to take those hard tires. And it looks like a 3-second time penalty now for Christian Dorman as well. Meanwhile, we go back to the battle for 8th. Luke Smith still trying to find a way around Vincenzo Torri. And Sandro Dulius is within striking distance of Oleski for the 4th position. He's got the he's under that 1 second. Oh, and now we've got ourselves a 3-car battle as Vincenzo has caught Max Mulder. So we've now got a 3-car battle for the 6th spot. And Vincenzo finds himself the meat in the middle of a Mercedes sandwich. And this is where I knew it was going to get messy, is when they were heading down towards Eau Rouge on lap 1 and there was 3 wide. It's impossible to go more than 2 wide through Eau Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. I mean, I didn't see what happened, but I just came up to there and had nowhere to go. As Vincenzo Torri gets through on Max Mulder there on the back straight.
Looks like we've got a car around. That looks like it's going to be Dion Stahl. Looks like he's going around at the top of Radion. Jurma Rusic losing a position out to Jesper Lampinen, and Vincenzo Torri going back and forth.
Yeah, that was Max Mulder retaliating on the Alfa Romeo and getting him back up the inside there. Yellow flags again.
Looks like that's going to be Jurma Rusic. And yeah, you said it. A lot of incidences this early in the race. And now we see Luke Smith trying to make a move on Vincenzo. And this 3-car battle is getting very heated. And then you've got the battle for 4th. We pick up Sandro Dulius riding behind Oleski.
And also Logan Ron already 1.8 seconds clear of Nicolo Falzarezzi. They had a very close finish last time out in Hungary, where Logan Ron just managed to hang on to the victory, just a few tenths from the Italian. And again, it's about those two here at the front. So we'll see if Nicolo Falzarezzi can do anything to try and close that gap to that Haas car in front of him.
We're going to ride with Sandro Dulius here down the short straightaway. The DRS, not much of a help here out on the front stretch. And a 3-second time penalty for Jesper Lampinen, but we're going to jump on board with Sandro as they head out of the hairpin downhill towards Eau Rouge. And he should be able to make this pass, I would think, down the Kemmel Straight with the help of the DRS as he tiptoes it through Eau Rouge. DRS slot open, but he lost a couple of tenths.
Luke Smith, he lost it as well on the top of Radion into the wall. He lost his front wing. He was very lucky to not lose a wheel there. That was a big impact for him, also losing it on the top of Radion.
And because of that, he also picked up a 3-second time penalty again. Sandro not close enough to make a move, and here we pick up Lewis Marshall. Looks like Lewis is all over the back of Ivan Brito, who Ivan's managed to make his way into the top 10 in points. Ivan Brito has struggled mightily this year, so a finish for him would be a great way to finish this race, but points would even be a more huge bonus for him. Ivan with a league-leading 7 DNFs, unfortunately, and it looks like Christian Dorman has retired from the session.
Yeah, it looks like he did retire in the pit lane after a couple of incidents for the German. So we're down to 14 drivers.
Started with 18, we're down to 14 as we watch Lewis Marshall try to get around Ivan Brito. And Dion Stahl with a 3-second time penalty. So time penalties, a lot more time penalties this early in the race than I would expect.
And Max Mulder and Vincenzo Torre nearly side by side coming through Blanchimont. Max Mulder got in back up the inside a couple of corners to go, and now Torre got in back on that very, very quick corner leading up to Blanchimont. And he's actually going to pull into the pit lane. Oh, and needs the water on the outside. He's going to have a bit of damage because of that.
And Lewis Marshall and Ivan Brito are side by side through the bus stop chicane. Lewis is going to push him wide. Ivan has to go outside the track lines to try and hang on to it. Lewis has got the DRS advantage. Ivan trying to come back to the inside, down the hairpin. Not going to be close enough to make it work, but he's going to have the DRS advantage now on the Kemmel Straight. We'll see if Ivan can hang with Lewis as they head downhill towards Eau Rouge. And Ivan's going to get a good run coming out of the top of Radion. The DRS is open, and he's going to be able to blow by Lewis Marshall down the Kemmel Straight, takes the position back. And that was a great lap by Ivan Brito. That's the best racing I've seen him do all years. He's still trying to hold off a hard-charging Lewis Marshall. We see the caution flag flies in Sector 2. Marshall to the outside. Ivan trying to push him a little bit wide. And look at this, Lewis Marshall does the crossover to the inside. It's now going to be the outside. They're side by side through this corner, and that's very tight racing, wheel-to-wheel action as they head down towards the left-hander at the bottom of the hill. Ivan's still hanging on to that position. Lewis trying to come back.
Great driving for both of them.
Lewis around the outside.
Yeah, he almost tried on the outside, I believe, and Brito just hold them off. But yeah, good clean racing from both of them there, and very wise of him also to not stick it side by side through Pool there.
And now you're going to be full throttle from that corner all the way down to the bus stop chicane. There's going to be a little bit of slipstream that Lewis can hang on to. It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a move. This is your closest battle on track right now. And this is great racing from Ivan Brito. This is the battle for 7th after there was another pit stop sequence from some of the other guys going off course. Ivan gives it a little bit of a... almost loses the back end coming out of that corner, but he gets the power down and he's able to separate himself just a little bit from Lewis. And now a half-second clear. Lewis Marshall back under power. Got Mark Hutchinson on the live chat saying hi and welcome, Mark, as we ride along with Lewis Marshall to the top of Radion down the Kemmel Straight. Looks like he lost a lot of time there. And Ivan Brito able to separate himself from Lewis Marshall. Kind of surprised by that.
And also Dion Stahl now closing the gap to Ewan Wilson. He's got the DRS as well to the inside. And a very straightforward overtake for the Ferrari driver.
So Dion Stahl moves into 11th. Robin Herderstegen now into the 10th position. We're going to go back to that battle with Lewis Marshall and Ivan Brito, though. And Lewis all over the gearbox now of Ivan Brito.
I think he's going to set himself up to have a good exit here on the run up to Blanchimont. Aided by the slipstream, he's looking to the inside. He's going to stick behind just for now. And Ivan Brito still holds on to 7th place. But yeah, these two are probably going to stay close to each other, of course, with the massive DRS and slipstream line on the back straight. It's very, very easy to stick with each other.
Oh, and a big twitch by Ivan!
On the inside, into the bust of chicane. That was a very unorthodox place they were taking, with a great move there from Lewis Marshall.
And Lewis lost the back end, or I'm sorry, Ivan lost the back end of the car. A great save though, and they're going to come out right behind Sandro. Sandro managed to make a pit stop and get out right in front of them.
Exactly, and Ivan Brito is of course a benefit now with the DRS on the back straight here.
And this is going to reminiscent of Schumacher and Hakkinen. Wow, and Ivan gets back by Lewis for the 7th spot, closes in on Sandro. And these two, this has been some really good racing from these two drivers. This is the best I've seen Ivan race all season. Trying to hang on to this position.
Yeah, I can certainly agree with that. And also, Sandro Lewis, he just came out of the pit lane, of course, on cold hard tires. He's going to probably lose a bit of time as well to those two. So maybe this could even become a 3-car battle before the Aston Martin and the Williams driver have to pit as well.
Well, Ivan still... Oh, Lewis with the...
Oh, there's contact as well.
That was a bit advantageous. I don't think that was going to work.
I'm not sure if any of those picked up damage, but of course they are closing in on the end of their tires, and especially Ivan Brito being on the medium tires. So
well, Lewis was involved in the opening lap melee, and he already pitted for hards on lap.
Oh, of course, yeah.
1 or 2.
Of course, he didn't start on those tires.
So down into the bus stop chicane. We'll see if Ivan's going to go around at least one more time. How long? Oh, and he almost loses the back end again. Lewis Marshall powered down and the DRS. He's finally going to be able to get back out in front of him.
Lewis Marshall back up into inside in turn 1. He locks up a little bit, and that's going to compromise his exit and of course give Ivan Brito the slipstream again on the Campbell Straight. But of course Lewis Marshall, he did pit to those hard tires on the first lap. It's going to be interesting to see if he can actually carry those tires all the way to the end from there, because that's going to be a long stretch, but it might be possible.
Ivan Brito all over the gearbox, and he's already starting to make the move before the DRS is even available. And now the slot's open. Lewis is going to duck back behind him. Oh, and you can see the back end is extremely twitchy for Ivan Brito. Those tires have got to be worn out at this point. How long can he make those mediums last?
Yeah, I think those mediums are definitely going to start to wear off now. So I think Lewis Marshall might have the advantage now on tires with those fresher hard tires that are going to be wearing off a little bit less, of course, than the mediums. So I'm expecting Ivan Brito to also pit very soon, as most of the medium runners have already made the first stop.
Meanwhile, for anybody wondering, nothing has changed at the front. It is still Logan Aran is your leader, out in front by 6 seconds, followed by Friab Bile, the Ethiopian, in second, and then Oleski is running in third. Oh, and around goes Ivan Brito. It was only a matter of time. Brito loses the back end. His tires are completely worn out at this point. Oh, and here comes some more cars.
He's going to have to be careful there on those overheated tires as well. Probably it just stays out of the way for me. So good on Ivan.
Tori almost being able to pick up that 10th spot. And it looks like Oleski has dived into the pits, making his scheduled pit stop. And we'll see if Ivan Brito... Ivan should definitely come in at this point and swap these tires out. And whoa, a big move there. Now, Ivan's going to come in. Vincenzo Tori came from a long way back. Ivan almost loses the car in the pit lane.
Yeah, his tires are going to be knackered, especially after that spin as well, of course. So good on him for going into the pit lane to change out his tires for hards as well.
So we'll pick up Friab Bile, who's become your leader after making his scheduled pit stop. Logan Aran has become in and out. He's out on the medium tires. Behind him is Nicolo Falzarezzi. Max Mulder is in the 4th position, but not everybody is done making their pit stops. Looks like Max still needs to make a pit stop. Friab Bile still needs to make a pit stop, and Dion Stahl still needs to make a pit stop. And around goes, whoa, is that Max Mulder just lost the back end of his car?
Yeah, like they had a clear bit of track there to rejoin, but yeah, it seems like a lot of drivers are struggling for grip here. At this point, we've seen quite a few incidents already, and also Max Mulder losing his car there on his own.
Yeah,
and also, Ivan Brito just exited the pit lane just in front of Robin Hersthagen, whereas they're running inverted strategies with Hersthagen having started on the hards and now having pitted for medium tires.
And Nicolo Falzaresi has closed in on Logan Aron. Friabile heads into the pits.
Yeah, great pace here from Nicolo Falzaresi. 1:46.0 now sets the fast lap of the race and is closing down that gap indeed to Logan Aron. This is of course the battle for the effective race lead, or it is the actual race lead now, as Friabile has indeed also decided to pit. So Logan Aron and Nicolo Falzaresi separated by less than a second. Let's see if Falzaresi will have the DRS now on the start on back straight. Looks like he doesn't. He's just outside of 1 second window.
Yeah, it looks like Logan was able to get through Eau Rouge and the top of Radion just a little bit better than Falzaresi. Falzaresi probably picked up a little bit of aero wash heading down towards Eau Rouge, and that cost him just enough time. But here he's coming back. He's just on the cusp of that 1 second. And while all this is happening, Friabile has come out just in front of Oleski, so the battle for third is on. Oleski just outside of that 1 second DRS zone. Meanwhile,
Ivan with the DRS. Sorry to interrupt there. Maurice is getting past on Marshall there on the camel straight as well.
And it looks like Lewis Marshall pitted for medium, so he didn't need to pit, and he was running very competitive lap times on the hards.
Yeah.
Perhaps he burned him up a little bit, battling it out with Ivan Brito for so many laps. And here we go, Lewis Marshall down to the inside.
That's quite brave. I've decided to pull. He does make it stick very clean move there from Lewis Marshall. Oh, yellow flags.
Max Mulder is retired from the session. And looks like these guys are going to be coming up on that here.
And a safety car has been deployed as well. Max against the wall. He probably lost his car on his own as well. Again, just like Tim Venting did at the top of Radion, sorry, and just like he did as well in Poole a couple of laps earlier. So
yeah, looks like he's pancaked it right there, and that big right-hander. So this is going to tighten up the field here with 7 laps to go. We'll go back and pick up Logan Aron and Nicolo Falzaresi. These guys are going to be battling it out for the lead. But again, we're going to tighten up the field here. What an incredible race so far. This is much like the Hungaroring. We see Nicolo Falzaresi closing the gap on Logan Aron. Logan was out in front by 6 seconds before the pit sequence. And once it's all said and done, here's Nicolo Falzaresi all over his gearbox. Friabile going to be in the 3rd position. Oleski's going to be right behind him. Sandro Dulius has had a quiet day, which is probably what Sandro has needed after some of the races he's had lately, running in the 5th spot. Vincenzo Torri is 6th, and Lewis Marshall's managed to get up to 7th. And it should also be noted that the top 7 drivers, none of which have any timing penalties. Jesper Lempinen is running in 8th. He's got at least one 3-second timing penalty, followed with Dion Stahl. And Luke Smith in the 10th position. Robin Herderstagen in 11th. Jorma Rusic is 12th. And Ivan Brito, 13th, still on track. He had that incredible battle with Lewis Marshall earlier on in the race. So we started with 18 drivers. We've lost 5. Max Mulder, your most recent DNF, is out. And a 3-second timing penalty for Dion Stahl under the yellow flag. That's gotta...
That's a bit unnecessary.
It's not an SRL race unless Dion gets a timing penalty.
Well, poor him. But yeah, lots of drivers struggling here, and of course, yeah, we did saw Max Mulder making that mistake earlier on. He did lose it on his own here in the corner where his teammate is coming through right now, Luke Smith. But yeah, also Logan Aron still leading the way. He's only leading by 3 points over his teammate Tim Venting, but of course, as it stands right now, he's going to gain a full 25 points, which will bridge the gap to 28 if he doesn't pick up the fast lap, and if he does, of course, it's going to be 29. So yeah, this could be a massive race for the championship, but we've got the same two protagonists again as we did in Hungary. Of course, Nicola Valtzakis had a really strong second half of the season. He came from 2 wins in a row from Monaco and the round before that. And of course, he did just miss out in Hungary, but if he can win today, then maybe he could be an outsider for the championship as well, because he is quite far down, but he's had such a strong performances that maybe he could be a dark horse as well if he can have a good result here.
And him and Oleski are still mathematically in contention for the championship. So we see Vincenzo Torri's going to take a gamble. He dived into the pits, lost 4 positions, comes out 10th, but he took a gamble. He's going to jump on a fresh set of medium tires. So he'll have the freshest tires on the track. We'll see if that's an advantage for him, even though he's going to be starting in the 10th position at this restart. We continue to circulate under the safety car as we wait for everybody to get caught up to the queue. And that moved Lewis Marshall into the 6th position. So Lewis Marshall, your last driver. So now the top 6 drivers don't have any timing penalties. No timing penalty for Vincenzo Torri or Robin Herterstegen running in a 10th and 11th spot.
So it looks like the safety car will continue for one more lap to let everybody join the queue.
Yeah, I would say one more lap is going to be the most we're going to need. Realistically, waiting for Ivan Brito to basically get caught up. So Ivan he's had a tough year. Really league-leading 7 DNFs. He has struggled with the handling of this game, but unfortunately right now running in 13th, but put on a really, really good show earlier, battling it out with Lewis Marshall, who Lewis is much more experienced, much faster, has a longer history playing F1 games. So Ivan did a really, really good job battling it out with him earlier for sure. Best racing I've seen out of Ivan so far this year.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great scrap. Ivan is currently down in P9 in the championship, but it doesn't really reflect because he does show sometimes like he is very driver.
Now he has some flashes of speed in the past. He's been far more consistent in years past than this season would lead you to believe.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but suddenly I can hear myself playing, so I'm not sure if that's also hearable on the stream. That might be a little bit...
Don't hear it on the stream, but you do sound a lot quieter.
Okay, maybe. I'm not sure if it's my endurance.
So Ivan is almost called up to the queue, so the safety car should come in this lap.
So yeah, let's see where Logan and Ron will decide to go, and how well Nicola Valtzakis can respond. But of course, it's going to be crucial for Valtzakis to stay close to the American and stay inside the DRS 1 second window. And as long as he does that for the remaining 5 laps, he can still have a chance of winning this race. And get one back on Logan Ron, of course, after he just lost out on the win in the previous rounds.
Well, this should be very interesting because Logan and Falzaresi are both very aggressive drivers. Nicolo proved that last time out in the GT3 championship. So he's still a relatively inexperienced driver, even though he's aggressive. Logan, far more experienced. He's got multiple championships from multiple leagues. But still, unfortunately, ending very badly in a couple of races. Sometimes he gets the better of himself, really.
Yeah, I wonder how many risks he is going to take now, because of course his championship rival is down and out, so is he going to settle for second place, or is he going to just go all in to try and win this race and gain the maximum amount of points over his teammate?
See, honestly, I think he would go for the maximum amount of points. As we go back to green flag racing, he's going to gun it just before the bus stop chicane, try and get going before anybody else. Nicolo Falzarezzi falls back, and we've already got a couple of positions swapping. Dion Stahl and Luke Smith battle for 9th. And it looks like Sandro's getting around... well, he got around, and then Friab got back around him. Oleski's up into 3rd. Caution flag sector 1 already. That's going to be Dion Stahl.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Dion. Half second in front of Falzarezzi.
Here's a battle that we haven't seen in a long time. Lewis Marshall and Sandro Duyas. But we're going to go back to the battle for the lead because that is going to be Nicolo Falzarezzi and Logan Aran, and a 3-second time penalty from Lewis Marshall. So Lewis getting the better of himself, battling it out with Sandro for the 5th position. Vincenzo Torri, meanwhile, who pitted for a fresh set of mediums, has only worked his way up into 9th. Big twitch there by Nicolo Falzarezzi to ride on board. Had to save the car a couple of times through that sweeping left-hander.
Yeah, Falzarezzi pushing really hard to the step level. The gap is almost up to a second. I don't think he can afford to lose that because as soon as he's out, it's going to be very difficult to regain that and get back in the second.
He's going to need that DRS, and while he's trying to get back to within under a second, right behind him is Oleski, who is within DRS range, and he's bringing Friab Bile with him. So we're essentially going to have a 3-car battle for the 2nd spot. These top 4 runners are all, and look at this, Falzarezzi manages to get within DRS striking distance. And Luke Smith finds a way around Jesper Lempenum for the 7th spot. Falzarezzi has just gone purple in Sector 3. Logan gets a really good run coming out of that hairpin. Caution flag flies Sector 1. That's going to be at the hairpin. Looks like that might have been Dion Stahl again. And Falzarezzi is going to have the DRS advantage as they come down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, he didn't have the DRS just yet, but he did close to get down to 7th and really of course from the next lap we're going to have DRS again. So hopefully Falzarezzi can stay inside 1 second and have something to fight with the remaining 3.5 laps of the race.
Meanwhile, Friab Bile is closed the gap down to Oleski under half a second as he's trying to find another podium finish here in his SRL rookie season. You know, Friab Bile had started the season with SRL as opposed to coming in round 9. He very much could be a championship contender as well.
Yeah, Friab Bile, he's had a really strong performance in his first couple of races in SRL indeed. And he's definitely continuing to show that they're fighting for 3rd position here with Alexei Kovenemi.
Does he make a move as they head down into the bus stop chicane? Doesn't look like he's going to. A little too far back. Going to set himself up for the DRS.
Oh, there's a very close fight as well between Dion Stahl and Jurmus. It's also Robin Erstagen there for P11. They almost touched the Dion Stahl, had to avoid to the grass and take out one of the DRS boards, I think. But he did manage to get through for 11th place. Of course, not for points. Jurmus is to the outside there, which will turn to the inside for the second bit of the bus stop chicane. Great move there from Jurmus, it's up into 11th place.
And now they're 3 wide as they head down the hill. That's not going to work as we saw earlier in this race. Coming out of the hairpin, looks like that's Robin Herderstagen. And they go single file coming out of the hairpin, luckily.
And also Vincenzo Torri getting through on Jesper Lampinen here on the Kemmel Straight. It looks like he's not close enough at the moment as Lampinen defends the inside line. And meanwhile,
Friab goes to the inside. Friab gets to the inside of Oleski. That's going to pick up the 3rd position for Friab Bile. Meanwhile, Lewis Marshall is in 6th spot. We've got a car around. That was Jesper Lampinen. Lost 3 positions there. Drops himself to 13th. And through that melee, Ivan Brito finds himself back in the points in 9th position. He just brushed the wall coming out of that corner, though. Whew, trying to keep up with everything on track here with 2 laps to go. Meanwhile, Nicolo Falzarezzi is in the 2nd spot, 0.7 of a second back from Logan Aran. The battle for the lead continues. as we head down the back straightaway in the closing laps of this race.
This is going to be intriguing to see how this will play out there at the Van Nicola-Vals race. So far still able to stick with Logan Ron, just 0.5 of a second, and of course he will have DRS on the next lap with 2 laps remaining.
Now you know as well as anybody, DRS means nothing here on this front straightaway, unfortunately. But you want to try and stay within that gap to get that through the Kemmel straight is going to be your best passing zone.
Yeah, you can see Valtteri, he had a bit of wheel spin come out of the bottom chicane because he just tried to drive down the corner as well as he could to stay with Logan Ron. He's going to set himself up here to get the slipstream and the DRS. Will Valtteri attack Logan Ron straight away here with 2 laps remaining?
Coming down to Eau Rouge. He's going to pick up a little bit of aero wash. Caution flag flies sector 3. Don't know who that was, but it was a quick on-off. DRS slot is open. Falzarezzi not close enough to make a move, though.
Yeah, he wasn't really able to close in there. I think Logan Ron probably saved up a lot of his ERS as well for that Kemmel straight, and he's probably going to try and do the same thing for the next lap. 1.5 laps remaining here, and still just half a second separating Logan Ron and Nicola Valtteri here, battling it out for the race win.
Meanwhile, Leski is down to less than half a second behind. Friabile and Lewis Marshall has closed the gap to Sandro Dulius for the 5th position, but again, Lewis has got that 3-second time penalty, so even if he gets around him, I don't think he's going to have enough time to clear that 3-second time penalty. We go back to the battle for the lead. Falzarezzi now 0.8 of a second back, trying to make this track as short as possible. Used a lot of curb in that corner there. And if Falzarezzi picks up a 3-second time penalty, it's going to be all over. Logan can cruise to the victory. And Falzarezzi just is floating on that 1-second gap, just in and out of that 1-second threshold.
Yeah, it's just hanging on by his fingernails to Logan Ron. He's just outside of that second, and he might lose DRS here on the start-finish rate. But I think if he can pick up DRS for the Kemmel straight, he might still have a chance to catch back up and try something here on this final lap.
It looks like he is going to be out of it, and Jurgen Marusic picks up a timing penalty. Meanwhile, Leski still trying to find a way around Friabile for the 3rd position, the final podium spot. And Lewis Marshall battling it out with Sandro Dulius. This is a 3-car battle now because it is Sandro, Lewis, and Luke, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, and it looks like Logan Ron has broken him. It's 1.4 seconds now. It's going to be a mistake from Logan Ron that could allow Nicola Valtteri to catch up again, but it looks like Logan Ron has got this covered for a 2nd race win in succession if he can hold on his last lap.
And Lewis Marshall to the inside of Sandro Dulius. Sandro hangs tough on the outside. Great driving as he manages to make it around. Lewis trying to cut back to the inside. Makes a little bit of contact with the right rear. And this is getting very tight, and Sandro does not need to do anything hastily. He can let these guys go and stay within 3 seconds of them. He does not need to finish in front of these two. Luke Smith and Lewis Marshall both with timing penalties.
A great defensive drive there from Dulius. It looked like he had a bit of a touch as well. They're coming out of the no-name corner, but he still hangs on to 5th place in this 3-car battle. Meanwhile, it is still just about a second at the front, so it looks like Logan Ron will win his 2nd race in succession, fighting off Nicola Valtteri yet again.
Meanwhile, Sandro still trying to hold off a hard-charging Lewis Marshall. Meanwhile, coming out of the bus stop chicane, Logan Ron with his 2nd win in a row, holding off Nicola Falzarezzi, as Falzarezzi is going to get 2nd. Friabile able to hold off Oleski for 3rd and 4th, and here comes Sandro Dulius. He's going to pick up the 5th place finish, followed by Lewis Marshall, Luke Smith, and now the timing penalties are going to be assessed, and it's going to change things around. And look at that, Vincenzo Torri finishes 6th because of the timing penalties, and Ivan Brito picks up some points, finishes 9th. Dion Stahl manages to finish in the top 10. Jesper Lempinen, Robin Herdestegen, and looks like Jurgen Marusic is going to be the last car across the line. And it looks like
he's got a puncture on the left front. He tried to stretch those soft tires, but he actually got a puncture there on the last lap. So Logan Ron Yeah, that's not in very good condition anymore. But yet another victory for Logan Ron as he increases his championship lead over Tim Venting to 28 points.
So driver of the day, according to the game, goes to Luke Smith. But I got to tell you, I'm going to hand my driver of the day out to Ivan Brito. Amazing drive today. A really good comeback race for Ivan. This is exactly what Ivan needed. And congrats to him finishing in the points for the first time in a long time. But the talk of the town right now, Logan Aron with the win, with the pole, with the fastest lap, hits the Grand Slam out of the park, and capitalizes on Tim Ventic crashing out early and gives him a little bit of insurance moving into the next round.
Yeah, this has been a big race for Logan Aron now. Having that championship lead is going to definitely... it might be a race which look back on at the end of the season where Logan Aron won the season 8 championship. But of course, it's definitely not over yet, and Tim Venting will be desperate to bounce back, of course, trying to regain his title that he won in season 5, because Logan Aron is fighting for his first championship after missing out last year. But yet another victory for the American in front of Nicola Fazzesi, another very, very strong drive from the Italian in front of the Ethiopian Fria Bilai.
Oleski's going to come home fourth. Sandro Dulius with a much-needed 5th place finish. Vincenzo Torri moves up into 6th because of the timing penalties. Lewis Marshall is 7th. Luke Smith 8th. Ivan Brito with 9th. And Dion Stahl is 10th. Those are your top 10 points-paying positions, followed by Jesper Lempinen, Robin Herderstagen, and Jorma Marusic. And then 14th through 18th is all DNFs. That was Max Mulder, Christian Dorman, Tim Ventic, Cameron Weston-Edwards, and unfortunately Nick Van Gelder, who has joined me in the booth for the remainder of this race. So, Nick, it's always a pleasure to have you with me in the booth, but not under these circumstances.
Yeah, cheers for saying that, but yeah, of course it wasn't ideal. It was a very weird feeling because I just came back from my skiing holiday, and I was just on time to wait for the race, and then it's just over already after 2 quarters. It was very weird to to start a race like this in such a rush and to end so early, but yeah,
that's a lot of effort for nothing, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is going to do it for us. This has been SRL Season 8 on the PlayStation platform. Like, subscribe to and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram, and we will see everybody at the next round.